Hello, hello. Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we have an interesting topic, and we're starting a little bit earlier than usual. So hopefully, this is good for some people that have been complaining that it's too late. So we'll try this on for size. Today's a interesting topic, very, very interesting topic that if you're on YouTube and you've been in the self-improvement world or read some books, this comes up a lot. What's your vision? What's your purpose? So on and so on. And I think that people don't really spend time. Hippie chick, what's going on? How are you? What's your vision for the future as an individual? I know you got something good with a name like that. Right? And I don't think we spend enough time thinking about this. What's your vision for the future as an individual? And I think people get too broad and not specific enough, and people get too, oh, I would really want that, but I can't because of this, or I can't because that. They always have an excuse. They have a built-in brick wall that's like, yeah, I would never be able to get through that. And the reality is a lot of this stuff can be done. And the people that are ultra successful are these game changers like the Steve Jobs or Rick Rubin or Tim Ferriss. I mean, who else is out there that you think is really successful or has got a lot of body of work or a really good life? G Money's in the house, Cincinnati's finest. What's your vision for the future as an individual? So I'll get to that. I'll circle back to that. But if you're watching this, my vision as an individual has not been with me since children. Would love to find my old self. Hard for me. Why is it hard for you? First question. Let's unpack this a little bit. I'm going to treat you like you're in a live coaching session because you came on first. And this is what you do in a coaching session. You ask a question on a question on a question, and then you end up unpacking the answer, not me, because you know yourself better than I do. Asking yourself a series of good questions. And you just, a lot of times you're so caught in the hustle and bustle of life, of paying your fucking bills, doing your job, maybe even going to the gym, doing the quote unquote right thing, getting your pension, getting your medical. These are all things in Western culture that seem to be paramount, making sure you can buy a house. And I'm not saying those things are bad things, but aloha. I'm not saying those things are bad things. I'm saying that they're great, but sometimes at some point we just stop dreaming and having a vision of like, damn, if I lived here, I did this job, man, this is what I've always really wanted to do. There's a really good book. I always mention this kind of thing. Mastery. Well, that's a good reason, hippie chick. A really good book, Mastery, and he talks about More Than Mastery by Robert Greene. And he talks about getting in touch with when you were a kid, what did you want to do and what were your interests? So a guy named Scott Adams, who G Money knows, not personally. What's up, EG? Let me know if this time's better for a lot of you guys. Maybe I'm going to switch it up because it's better for a lot. Eric Thomas, Les Brown, good stuff. Eric Thomas, I don't know. Les Brown's a fucking legend. So, I mean, you hear him speak, and that guy's captivating. Oh, Eric Thomas, I think I have seen. He's younger. He's younger. He's a motivator. He almost seems like a football coach, if I had to guess. But getting back to this, spend some time thinking about it. And a lot of times, if you're in a breakup, I know some of you are post breakup a long time ago. When you're at ground zero and you feel like nothing else can, or you're feeling down, that's the time to go like, wait a minute here, because the time that you're like comfortable, you live in mediocrity, you're getting by, you're doing okay. That's mediocre. That's the time when you're really comfortable. And I'll be full disclosure. I've been in that for a little while myself. You get kind of what you want and where you're at, and you kind of just are coasting, but you're like, wait a minute. Like, let me take a step back and like, let me reset the clock here. And if I really wanted, like, I still got a lot of time in my life. Let me think about like, if everything went right, what would I really want? Who would I want to be? What job would I want to have? And I'm not talking like the quick answer. The quick answer would be like, oh, I want $100 million, right? Okay, that's fine. But like, then you got to unpack that and like how I want to be a millionaire. People say something like that. Well, that's not specific. That's your subconscious isn't going to cling to that. It's not going to make it up. It's not going to make it possible. So first things first, really think about when I was a kid, what did I really like doing? And I'll share with you guys. When I was a kid, I was going back through some journals my mom keeps in an old shed. My mom keeps a bunch of stuff. She's a bit of a pack rat. And so am I to a certain level, not at that level though. My mom has, it's amazing. People talk to me about living abroad and what's some different things about living abroad. Other countries don't have storage units, folks. I don't know about but I go to the States and there's these huge fucking tracts of cement for people to store their shit. And that's just not how the rest of the world operates. It just says something there. But I digress. So in this particular case, my mother has two sheds out in the backyard. And there's a journal in there from when I was like a little kid. I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old. This is going to be funny to you guys. One of the things I mentioned in that journal, and this tells you how long this guy's been in the news. I'm like, I want to be rich like Donald Trump was one of the things. Because I was a little kid. I remember watching that show on Saturday or Sunday afternoon, The Rich and Famous with Robin Leach, The Rich and Famous. And I remember seeing him on that show probably 30 years ago or whatever it was. I was probably 8 or 9 and going, yeah, I want to live that lifestyle. But my deeper vision, my real vision, sportscaster or broadcaster. I don't know if you guys know who Chris Berman is, but he's a Sports Center legend. And since I was a little kid, I liked watching Sports Center and I wanted to be someone on TV, someone talking. And that was one of the first things that I remember saying, oh, that's what I want to do when I'm older. And a lot of times they say that's at your core. If that's one of the first things. And then when I got to about 11 or 12 years old, I really wanted to be a teacher. And I didn't know specifically teaching what, or what subject or what level. That transpired later on, but I just knew I wanted to be a teacher. And so look back, but before you were a teenager and you started to think about other things besides your future, because when you're a teenager, you're thinking present moment, you're thinking crushes, what girl you like, or if you're a woman, what guy you like. You're thinking about different things when you're a teenager. You're kind of trying to find yourself, but you're more in the present moment. As a kid, you dream a little bit, right? That's why you play make-believe. You play army or something in the woods, whatever. I don't know. But you dream when you're young. You go, oh, I can do that, because no one's told you yet, oh, that's going to be really difficult or hard. No one's told you that, so you believe everything's possible. So mine was probably that. It was first thing that I can remember. I wanted to be rich like Donald Trump because I saw that on TV. But more specifically, I really, really wanted to be on Sports Center and be someone like Chris Berman, who I thought was so cool. And I loved the San Francisco Giants. I used to listen to baseball games going to sleep on the radio, AM, when I was like 6 or 7 years old. So hence the reason now I really like this live stream, interacting with you guys, and it's almost like a radio format to me, right? This is fun. It's useful. It's exciting. And so thanks, Hippie Chip. I appreciate it. Throw a like my way, folks, if you please. If you had all the money in the world, what would you do? This is actually a really simple question. I don't think you ask yourself that much. I've mentioned before, if I had all the money in the world, what would I do? I said I'd have a small hotel probably near the beach or up in the mountains, and I'd have a basketball gym where you could do yoga and have basketball runs at the gym, because I haven't seen one of those yet. Somewhere close to fishing, and maybe have about 15 to 20 rooms, meet people from around the world. It wouldn't need to be a 5-star place. It'd be more about bonding with other people like basketball maybe. And yoga is not something I'm passionate about in any way, but I appreciate the benefits from it. And I think that a lot of people I'm not a flexible person, so it's not one of those things where I'm just like, oh, this was great. But I find that it's a really good meditative practice compared to just sitting in the woods, Indian style. And so that would be one of the things. If I had all the money in the world, I'd also create some kind of scholarship program for students that want to study abroad at a university that I've taught at, because I feel like studying abroad and living in another country is probably one of the best things you could do. I don't know if I would even say on an education level, but on a human level, to understand another culture and live in another culture just opens you up so much. Takes you out of your comfort zone and really forces you to grow and makes you a more understanding individual. So that would be another thing I would do. Obviously, I'd buy one really nice family house for maybe my niece and nephew who'd live maybe in San Diego or somewhere in the Bay Area. Again, it's probably best to be specific on that. So I have some ideas. What's holding you back? What's holding me back? Well, I don't have all the money in the world right now, but currently I don't feel like a lot's holding me back. Putting things in place like doing a daily live stream, gaining some momentum, gaining some traction on what I'm doing now. So I don't feel like anything's holding me back from my current vision. And one thing that's helped me is I refocus every morning, do some sets of affirmations and refocus. And that's really helped. And I'll spend another live stream on that because I think affirmations is a huge topic. And if you look at it in the wrong way, like I'm going to go in the mirror and say, I love myself 5 times. I don't think that's something a lot of people want to do, but there are ways to do it. And there's a couple methods that I found that I really like, and I'll share those in the future. And if you guys do affirmations yourself, please let me know. And affirmations to me, at some point, it's like saying your prayers every day when you were a kid, if you were religious at all. What are you scared of that stops you from thinking it's possible? So like Hippie Chick would say, I'm not sure, I'm not speaking for you, but whatever your vision is, you're saying, well, I can't move because I'm here to be with my mother. Well, that's admirable and noble. If you have someone in your family that's older and you need to be there for them or take care of them, and your particular vision as an individual impedes that, at the end of the day, you're not going to regret putting a family member first. But at the same time, maybe take that vision, be creative, and see how you can reshape it and remold it into something that fits with you living near your mom. So who's the most impressive person you know based on their own life path? This could be a famous person because now with the internet and everything like that, we can get really close to people. What I mean by that, we can literally see someone that's interesting, scour the internet and watch 10 interviews in one night and really get to know who they were and how they are. For me, Tim Ferriss is one. Really like his body of work. Joseph Rodriguez, that has the book review channel that now I do some live coaching with. He actually helps coach me. I'm very impressed by his content and the way he looks at things and his work with the subconscious. Trying to think of who else impresses me. I'll come back to that. Who would you bet on? Today I didn't do the last couple live streams kind of before I get into this, I prep and get into it. I didn't do it today. I didn't have the time. So who would you bet on? This is a great TED Talk. Who would you bet on? Let me know if you want to see the link to that. I'll try to find it and put it in the show notes for this. Who would you bet on? Guy starts out the TED Talk. Who would you bet on? What does he mean? Who would you bet on? What he says is, if you had money and you were going to bet on someone and you were going to take 10% of their earnings for the rest of their life, 10% of everything they got, because you went, this guy or woman, has their shit together. They're doing good things. I'll bet on them. Right. And that's what someone does when they hire someone in a job. They're betting on them. Who would you bet on in your life that you know? Famous or not famous? It's a really good question. I thought that TED Talk was outstanding. I really thought about it. And I immediately thought of this one guy I used to work with that just had everything in place. I mean, the guy was so nice, outgoing, great at his craft, great real estate agent, ultra kind to people and helpful. And just everyone that met the guy would just be like, oh, that guy's just such a nice guy. He's such a good guy. And he was genuinely nice. He obviously had a really good, like when he talked about his parents and he had a sister and brother, he had a really good family life growing up. And by the way, Mr. Rob IS, this individual was from Toronto. So giving Canada and their moral system props. I was like, damn, I'd probably bet on him. And at the end of the speech, not to ruin it, the guy goes, you should be betting on yourself. Fucking really good speech. And I thought about that. I'm like, damn, that's when you're at your best point. When you say, I'd probably bet on myself. That's not arrogance. That's confidence. Whose life do you envy? Do you have a friend or family member? And then unpack that even deeper. Why do you envy them? Just because they have money? Because there's plenty of people that have money that I don't envy who they are as a person. I've realized that over my life. I'm like, damn, this person's doing really well and they're still not happy. And they're carrying around a bucket with holes in it and trying to fill the water with it. All right, let's get into some of these questions and we'll circle back to these. My future is to be a detective. Well, go for it. What's holding you back? Are you being sarcastic or are you being real? I don't know if I'd want to be that job. It sounds interesting. People that I know that are police officers, I've known one detective, but I've never talked about what it was to do the job. They say that the shit on CSI and on TV is extremely fake. So if that's the reason why, it doesn't usually go down like that, I've been told. I'm partly doing what I like already, just feel I can do more. All right, well then unpack that, sit down, journal it, mind map it, ikigai. Create a situation where you're like, all right, I really like my job right now, but how can I take this to the next level, make it more interesting and create more significance for myself and also maybe help some more people. Survival mode. You want to elaborate, hippie chick? Eric, should I hire you to follow my ex? Monica says. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, you could be a breakup detective. That would be actually a really good niche. But want to start off as a police officer and level up till I get they're hiring. When I was in California 3 or 4 months ago, they had billboards up saying we're hiring police officers. So that's a job that pays well, great benefits. People that I know that are cops are pretty proud of what they do. Unfortunately, currently with the media and whatnot, they're getting a lot of flack for, I don't think everyone's wrong, but I think if you want to be a cop, and I've had other clients say this before, when they're in their mid and late 20s, yeah, that's what I've always wanted to do. There's a playbook to become a cop. You can go to the junior college or you can go to whatever the recruiting place, and they'll tell you like, do this, 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 and this, and then you qualify to be a cop. Most likely you can get a job. It's not tricky. You just got to know the hurdles to jump, and you can get that job. Funny, they have a store here called the Container Store. It's crazy. The rest of the world does not have storage units where they actually pay money to store shit or garage sales. They usually just have Sunday markets or Saturday markets where they just sell cheap stuff, but it's not someone's stuff from their garage. Talking about journals, I miss writing poetry and doing my artwork. All right, so how can you spin that? Hippie chick, do an ikigai. You'd probably enjoy that. I always mention this. I don't know how many people actually do it. Oh, shit. I didn't have the type on there. Get in touch with that. You like journaling? You like writing poetry? All right, how can I do this? Can I teach poetry? Is there any kind of program where I can do like a workshop that'll teach me how to be a better poet? I don't know. Who's your favorite poet? Can you model some of their work? Steal like an artist. And it all starts with you kind of brainstorming some things to maybe take a class at a local junior college that's not necessarily something you're going to get points or credit for, but you might meet someone that has a like-minded career in writing poetry, and then they could say like, oh, actually, you want to get your stuff published? This is how shit leads to shit. That's a bad analogy, but you know what I mean. Hippie chick, you should start. What's holding you back? You know, a really good one is Charles Bukowski. I forgot what the name of that. I wish I could play it from YouTube. Charles Bukowski has a great poem about doing it and following your dream of doing it. And he's kind of rough around the edges if you know who Charles Bukowski is. Look up Hippie Chip, look up Charles Bukowski famous poems or something. I'll have to look that up. I'm going to start making notes. I keep extremely good mental notes, but to put things in the show notes, this is going to be helpful to you. Links. I think it takes pain to truly drive someone to the point, or you'll just fall flat on your face being comfortable with your regular day job. Well, before it takes pain, you need a fucking vision, though. You need to know what you want. I remember, this might not sound like, wow, that's a great vision, Mac. But what I've realized in my life, things that I've really wanted, and I visualized them, and I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to do The Secret, and I'm going to sit on a fucking pier by the bay while the sun goes down and visualize something. No, I just kept it in my mind. Like, this is what I really want. I told friends, like, this is my goal. This is my thing. And then eventually, usually somehow the universe conspires and goes, yeah, okay, we made that happen. One of the things when I was years back, when I was in real estate, I was like, I want season tickets to the Warriors, to the 49ers, and to the Giants. Now, those are extremely expensive. I didn't have the money at the time, but I was just like, I was in a job or a career where you could make good money. You got good commissions. And in my head, I didn't say how I was going to do it or how it was going to happen. I was just like, that's one of my goals. And like I said, it's expensive. I didn't know what seats I was going to get. And I'll tell you what, folks, within a year, I had season tickets to all three. Excuse me. That's a lie. Giants, I didn't have season tickets. Giants, I had like a 20 or 30 game package that I split with a friend. Now, when I said this, I didn't say I was going to get 2 tickets for myself. I didn't say I was going to split them with a friend. But the way it worked out, I split one with a friend came to me and was like, hey, look, you want to get Warrior season tickets? We'll split them. We'll sell 30% of them. We'll go to 30% of the games together. And then we'll go to, 40% of the games separately. So I didn't have to go to every single game, but I had one season ticket. Niners, one of my buddies was like, look, I can't afford them this year. Can you take one? Same kind of thing. So having the vision, having the idea, believing it's possible, this shit's real. And you got to redo this stuff. You got to recalibrate where you're at right now. And it's never a better time than now. And just getting the vision, getting excited about it is the first step. It takes a lot of anger to get me in gear. Why is that? With a name like Hippie Chick, that doesn't seem like, that seems conflicting. But look at what you're doing now. You're teaching and on TV. You've envisioned it. You're here. It's not sports, but yeah, Keisha. Yeah, I agree. It's really interesting. Like, look back. I'm sorry. I'm on a roll this morning again. I just had my coffee. Got to slow down a little bit. But G Money, I mentioned Scott Adams, and you're familiar with him. Scott Adams did the Dilbert comic strip. I don't know if you guys have seen Dilbert, the Office guy. And he was trying different things. He worked in a bank. He worked here. He's got a really good book called How to Fail at Everything and Win in Life or something like that. But he said he looked back, and when he was a kid, he always liked to draw comics. He was constantly drawing all the time. And so when he got into his late 20s or 30s, he was like, look, I'm going to start this comic strip. He had no experience. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He just worked his ass off and got to a point where that's what he did. But that was something that was an itch when he was 7, 8 years old, right? Most of us play it safe. Well, that's what we are. How should I say, programmed to do. That's what school programs you to do. That school, and I'm a teacher, programs you to think safe. I mean, look at basic jobs, and I don't have a problem with it. If you have 2 or 3 kids, you probably have to play it safe. Okay. And there's certain things that I understand there's some limitations, but that doesn't mean you can't get a vision that fits within your lifestyle and start looking towards that on the horizon. There is ways to do that. You got to be creative. It's like, you don't just think, for example, like Keisha said, oh, well, now you're doing this and you're teaching, you're on TV. It's like, I'm not a sportscaster on ESPN, but I'm talking to a lot of people. I'm using some kind of platform I didn't know about as a little kid to be on TV, I guess. So it's shaped and it became a more creative vision, and that's what you could do with it. Thumbs up, hit like Mac. What's up, Rob? There's something in all of us, just have to find it. Every one of us has potential beyond imagination. It's just a mindset. G Money's in the house. Skating rink with all the lights and great sound system in place on the beach. Okay, now we're talking. Hippie chicks finally going, woo. Now we're talking. Now, like, that's something I would have no interest in having. Like, is that an ice skating rink or a roller skating rink? But that's fucking cool. Like, now we're talking about like a vision that's creative, special, and exciting. And you're like, some people, and another good part of a vision is have some people go, oh yeah, really? Like, that's not possible. Have something crazy like that. I mean, what's the point of doing really well in life if you don't have some vision, if you don't have some kind of finish line? And what I recommend is, where would the city be? Where's the place on the beach? What beach? that was always my vision. And then eventually when I lived in San Diego, I lived 2 houses from the boardwalk. It took me like 3 or 4 years. I lived about 10 blocks away. And then something came up at work with a guy that I worked with that I didn't really like, but I took a chance. He was like, I got an open room. We got a roommate situation here. The guy left. I got another roommate. I never even met his friend or roommate, but I was like, dude, I've always wanted to live by the beach. 2 houses from the sea spray. At night, you could hear. Rob, wad up my guy. I don't know what that means. The Three Stooges. Just hanging in at the Starbucks. Man, Starbucks has grown so much. You know that Starbucks is everywhere in the world? It's just amazing. I don't know if it's that good either. I like the atmosphere and the convenience, but I don't know if I'm not a coffee snob, so I can't really speak on it. Some people that are connoisseurs, would be like, oh, yeah, this kind of, I drink iced coffee, so that's not really, it's like drinking iced wine. It's not the same taste. I like a Starbucks, or I like Pete's coffee, actually. It's a little stronger, but being in one of those places just to have your laptop and whatnot, that's cool. Okay. It's funny. I got a nice little office. I like where I live, but I always like to use a cafe to do work. No being a mother. BRB, I don't know what that means. BYB, I know. He lives near me. Maybe he lives near me. I don't know. I would bet on the guy who trained me at my job. He got to work at 5:45 in the morning every day. He would go entire work days without getting up once. Hardest worker I've ever met. Well, there you go. Like, and you're watching him and you're like, this is a good dude also. Like, I like his morals. I like his values. Could you be that guy, G Money? Or do you want to be him? I eventually want to retire and work as a medical officer for the Peace Corps. That's actually, Monica, it's funny. My mother always wanted to join the Peace Corps when she was young. My mother's, I should know this, 65 or 66, born in 53. She always wanted to be in the Peace Corps. Her father was a police officer, and her father was like, absolutely not. That's hippie stuff. No pun intended, hippie chick. And so she didn't do it. And she wanted to be a teacher also. She ended up being a office manager for a dentist, which was her mom's job, which she did a great job, and she was happy, and it was fulfilling for her, actually, to be honest. But she always talked about that when I was a kid, wishing to go to the Peace Corps. I looked into it. I've known some people that have done it, and some of them say that they didn't really like their post. Like, if you don't get to choose where you go, and if you end up in a country that's not fun. One guy I met ended up in Mongolia. I'm like, oh, that seems cool. That's a different culture. He goes, it wasn't. He's like, I was living in a shack. There's nothing out there. Yeah, he goes, I mean, they got horses and stuff like that, but that was just one opinion. Not an A's fan? No, not really. I got an A's hat, but I'm a Giants fan, dude. I'm a Giants fan. I was on the San Francisco. I grew up about 15, 20 minutes away from San Francisco, 15 minutes from Candlestick Park. If you're going to try, go all the way. Yeah, G Money, we are kindred spirits. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. G Money's man. I love it. If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, and maybe even your mind. That's the one, Charles Bukowski. Go check it out, hippie chick. I love that poem. There's YouTube videos to do great readings of it. Oh, really? That's a good one. It's pretty simple when you think about it, too. If you look at Charles Bukowski's story, it's pretty interesting. In the first chapter of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, he does a nice piece on, he mentions Charles Bukowski and Alan Watts, who I really like. Great knowledge, G Money. Great fucking knowledge. Could be my wingman any day. Remember that from Top Gun? Bullshit, you could be mine. I really admire author Jeff Brown. He's like someone to touch with the spiritual world, and his writings are beyond good, wish I could write like him. Start writing. Start writing your own style. Writing is a style within your own. The game has changed. Really, really, we don't need school these days. You can start a business through social media and get paid. Yeah, I'm with you. I think there are certain things that you still need training for, like nursing, like a doctor, that you need a professional place. But absolutely, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Roller Old School, Cherry Grove, SC, near the pier. Cherry Grove is South Carolina, so that's where you want the house on the beach. Roller Old School is the name of the place, near the pier. Now you got a vision. Now every morning for the next 100 days, when you wake up, think about that, or before you go to sleep, and see if that helps you out. Get back to me in about a year and say, I'm at Cherry Grove on my beachfront house. Maybe you don't own it. Maybe you got to rent at first, but you're in the area. I got quite buff, been lifting weights. Well, good for you, EG. It's never been my thing, obviously. I lift weights and whatnot, but I've never been one that's like, I want to get really buff. But if that's your thing, go for it. Go for it. Miss going to live concerts. Never been a big concert person myself. As much as I like people, I don't like huge, crazy crowds. But for real, fell in love with Laguna Beach art area. Laguna Beach art area, as in Laguna Beach in LA? Because that's not the Carolinas. That's a little different atmosphere, Laguna Beach. That's big money. That's a beautiful beach. I remember MTV had like the Laguna Beach show, and I'm watching, I'm like, are these real people, or is this just like some kind of infomercial? I focus on the arms instead of the stomach. Okay. That's a good technique, I guess. BRB, AK, be right back. Okay. Thanks for putting me up on this lingo. Starbucks is a good company. The owner is humble. He made sure all of the employees has health benefits. He interviewed on Oprah. Check it out. Yeah. Howard Schultz, I believe it is. He follows an 80-20 principle. I know a little bit about him. There was thanks for that though, Keisha. There was someone I knew, actually, I lived in Chiang Mai for a while, and he worked for Starbucks, and he said it was a grind working for him. He was a high-up manager, like a manager for a whole region. I've already done it. It was good. I still want to do it in retirement as well. That's right, Giants. You're thinking New York Giants, I think, because you're from New York. You're not thinking San Francisco Giants, right? You're thinking the New York football Giants. I'm a Giants baseball fan. Okay, we'll check it out. Charles, how tall are you, Mac? If you're, nah, that's not personal at all. You can ask me my weight too if you like. I'm 6 feet tall, or 6 foot tall. 6 foot tall. 6 feet tall. 6 foot tall, and about 170, 175 pounds, give or take. My dream is Laguna Beach, Orange County, starting my realistic for SC. Well, make fucking Laguna Beach your dream. That's a beautiful place. I just had a friend move down there, San Clemente. He says it's great. Listen, Southern California, there's a reason people like it. I don't know if Laguna Beach is the best place. San Diego is an incredible place to live. The people, the weather. The weather alone. If that's your thing and that's some kind of art scene out there, focus at the top. Don't settle. It's your dream. It's your vision. Like I said, when you stick with that, there's going to be something creative that comes out of nowhere. You watch that Dr. Joe Dispenza. He got some interesting things to say about this. But I've just noticed in my own life, you get paid more, though, Monica. Same in the Bay Area. It's more expensive, but you get paid more. So it's relative. I think if you were probably a nurse there and compared to being a nurse in Carolinas or one of these places, I think you get paid a lot more. So it's usually relative with that. One of the big fields in California, if I was a nurse, people that are making some serious money is around the clock home care for elder people in their house. That's been a huge business in the Bay Area. I remember my great grandmother, God rest her soul, rest in peace, Grandma Madeline. 94 years old. She lived with us for about the last 5 years. So like the last year or two, my mom would be like, oh, my mom and dad would want to go somewhere or do something. And they literally had to have a home caregiver. Someone's 95, 94. If they fall down, they can't get up sometimes. So you basically get someone, and this was like 20 years ago. They're like a registered home caregiver. They're not even a nurse. I think she was getting like $20 an hour, but for 24 hours to sleep there. And they still got that going on. That's interesting. I don't know how that works, but I mean, you can get creative and make more money with your set of skills, especially an experienced nurse. You could start a home care. I know people that have done that have less skills than a nurse and are doing really well and helping people. I always thought that was interesting because I really like old people. I like hanging out. Probably because my great grandmother lived with us. I was always close with my grandfather too, but I got time for him. I got time to sit and chit chat. And I remember the lady that stayed and watched my grandma. My grandma wasn't overly chummy or talkative, but the lady showed up to the funeral and was crying because she made a connection. That was pretty interesting. G Money, the Ikigai is legit. More and more, I'm really wanting to own a martial arts school one day, and it fits the Ikigai. Sweet, dude, do it. That's doable. Here's what I find interesting though, and this ties into what I'm doing now. I created my own style or my own niche of quote unquote breakup coaching, and it's still evolving, right? I'm still learning some things. I'm still trying some things. And when you say I'm going to do a martial arts school, here's some things that I would do. First off, go to multiple martial arts schools as a student. See what you like, take what you want, steal like an artist. Next, go online, look at some martial arts studios around the world, steal like an artist, take a look at them, say, ooh, that's how I'd like my studio to be. Then maybe read a couple of Bruce Lee's books. Bruce Lee was actually majored in philosophy. You probably already know that, G Money, because you're up on this kind of shit. Look at some of the slogans or the things. I'm going to come with some of the quotes from that book that Bruce Lee had. He's got some good ones. Think about what you're going to put on the walls. Think about the location of your studio, how it's going to look. Start envisioning that shit. That's a great idea. Doing martial arts, and martial arts is catching steam. And here's what I like about martial arts. It's evergreen. It's never going away. No one's going to go, oh, that's out of style. Oh, that's not cool, right? I mean, you could start a YouTube channel where you show some moves on martial arts. Now, it's not the same thing, but just to get your name out there, you could start doing like a video where you have a couple people and you're teaching them martial arts moves. Now, you're not going to do that. Here's what people get wrong about YouTube in my book is you do YouTube and you're like, oh yeah, unless I get 1 million views, I can't really touch anything, or if I don't have 100,000 views, I'm not doing anything to make a difference or help anyone out. And they just assume all you make money from YouTube is from ads. I didn't start doing ads till like 2 or 3 months ago, and I was begrudgingly doing it because I hate when I watch like a really good YouTube video and Dean Gragazario, who's so fucking amazing, Larry King's interviewing him, or hey, have you tried Wix yet? These ads are just like, what the fuck, man? They're so annoying. So people think like, oh, when I do a YouTube channel, I'm going to make all this money from the ads. Yeah, it's a bonus. It's a plus. You make some money and down the road. But really, what you should lead with, especially if you're teaching something, is like, all right, if I do this and I get 100 views and 5 people like it and say like, damn, that was a move in Taekwondo or martial arts that I didn't know, that's a win. It took you 10, 20, 30 minutes to do it, and just keep shipping those and then make something creative that's a little different, dude. How can you put a little bit of G Money spice on that? I don't know, dress up in a fucking costume or something. I don't know. Shake it up. Remix martial arts into something different. Like, I think it's ridiculous, but you mentioned that yoga has yoga with goats now. That's a little goofy. But I know that they have yoga where someone drinks like craft beer. I don't know if that kind of stuff's for me, but that's what we call a remix. But look at the book, The Inevitable by Kevin Kelly. And he talks about this. The future is going to be all remixes. So remix your martial arts studio into something that's different. That's not the average one, that adds something extra to it. I don't know. Get fucking creative. right? My thing was, when I started this channel, I'm going to go, everyone that sends in a story, I'm going to read your story for free. For 6 months, I made no money. 7 months, I still don't make a lot of money. Okay. But in the beginning, I'm like, if I help one person and I unpack their story, that's a win. If I make one connection, that's a win. And that's a win for me and a win for them. And win-wins right in my wheelhouse. I work with older people. Okay. Like care homes. I mean, if you like working with older people and you're a nurse, why wouldn't you start like a small care home? People are doing this in the Bay Area where they get like a 3 or 4 bedroom house and you lead it. You don't need one of these ones that's got like 100 people in it. Have 3 or 4 people that you take care of full time. That's good money. That's a win-win. And you connect with some old people. The only tough part about that is you lose them sometimes. I don't want to work at a desk all day. I'd much rather have an active physical job that keeps me active. I'll tell you what, dude, being in a cubicle, I've called friends up before and I'm like joking around. You know how you talk to your buddies and I'm messing around. They're like, yeah, yeah. And it sounds like they're in a library. I'm like, are you in a fucking cubicle right now? Yeah, yeah, bro. Yeah. Hey, Mac. Yeah. That's funny. It's like, geez, man, step out. No, I can't step outside right now. I'll have to call you back. I would hate to be handcuffed like that at a job. I've always liked jobs where I'm like, I can take 15. I can take 10. I don't like, I remember I had one job when I was 17 or 18. I worked at a fucking Hofbräu. I don't know. That's like a glorified cafeteria. They had like turkey carvery and all that other stuff. I had to take that job because I got fired from another one, which is another story. But, it was like whiter wheat dinner roll, whiter wheat dinner roll, whiter wheat dinner roll. It's like 17 years old, right? And the guy's like, Bob Bellman, you're the man. The legend continues. Whiter wheat dinner roll. And they're like, hey, you know what? You don't seem like you're really happy here. And I'm like, who the fuck wants to say whiter wheat dinner roll? Do you want ice in your drink 100 times in 4 hours? Like in my head, I knew right away. I'm like, I'm not going to get stuck in this job. And then you work with some other people that have been there like 3 or 4 years. They're all bitching about the job. I'm like, I just knew. I was like, I was out in 3 months. I had to have the job for work experience in high school. But I remember thinking like, damn, dude, you can't just step off. You have to be like, can I take a pee? I don't want permission as an adult to take a pee. I love older peeps too. I can listen over and over. There's been a hairdresser for over 20. Oh, cool. You've been a hairdresser? That's a fucking cool job. Shit. I always like being in the barber or going to a hairdresser or something like that. I don't got a lot of hair left, but talking to them. You guys are good at having conversation. You give a bartender a run for their money as far as hearing people's stories and lives, right? Even the barber I go to now, she remembers so much. She'll be like, "Oh, Kun Mac." Kun Mac in Thai means like Mister. Yes, they can tell stories, hippie chick. I specialize in haircut. And the thing is, old people really appreciate if you give them their time, if you listen to their story. Like that's what they have right now is to tell some stories, drop some wisdom, share some wisdom. If you give them 10, 20, 30 minutes, that's a privilege, man. Because my grandma used to say when she's 94, someday you'll see, someday. I used to be, it was like in my teen years. Yes, Monica, my grandma had Alzheimer's. Now my dad does. Thanks, Monica. Wow. That's tough, huh? Be like water, my friend. Bobby Bellman, Southern California's finest. Hippie chick, you said you wanted to live in Laguna. Bob is from SoCal. He's a highly successful man, too. Folks, I'm going to have to turn this out quick. I got some things to do. I got about 10 minutes. We got any closing questions? This has been good. Has this been a good time for you, I hope? Keisha's been missing the live streams. And I'll elaborate on these. Anyone that's watching this video later on, what's your vision for the future as an individual? Please put it in the comments. If you had all the money in the world, what would you do? Put it in the comments. What's holding you back? What are you scared of that stops you from thinking it's possible? Who's the most impressive person you know based on their own life path? Who would you bet on? This is a really good question. Whose life do you envy? Just went stagnant there, little radio silence. Daniel, that's outstanding, Mr. Cali Mayor Montero. How did the date go? If you don't want to share, that's fine because we got 7 people listening. I mean, if it didn't go well, it's actually a better story. Like I said, bad dates are good stories, especially for fellow people that were from breakups, right? Misery loves company. Oh, you're going to ruin it for everyone? No one wants to hear that shit, man. No one wants to hear you went on a good date. We want to hear some, oh, it was horrible. Oh, yeah, that's how all women are, Daniel. That's how dating is now in the world. Whiter wheat dinner roll, G Money. I wasn't buying it. You want to hear something funny about that job at the Hofbräu? Whiter wheat dinner roll, whiter wheat. I like to fucking talk. I like to conversate. That was like putting me in a box, dude. And they had their trays. I mean, the place was actually nice. And the guy that was like the career manager, yeah, you seem like you're really unhappy here. Really? Wow, man, that's a fucking great observation considering I'm asking people if they want a whiter wheat dinner roll fucking 100 times. But I also had access to doing the ice cream. So if someone wanted ice cream or a sundae, and I'm one of those people, it'd be like, oh, you want an ice cream? Okay, I give them like 4 scoops, fucking sundae sauce. Guy would come over. He's like, I think you're giving a little too much ice cream. Really? I always want to treat people like I'm the customer. Like I want to be treated. I went out of my way. Sorry to say the word, but awesome. Good memory. I don't hate the word as much. But you know what I mean? That's funny. You got a kick out of that. Hey, Mac. Hey, Hitch. I'm glad I didn't have I haven't needed you in a while. We should catch up on some of the stuff that we've been doing that I've been doing. For sure, Bob. For sure, man. I just had over this last month some people that I've talked to did live coaching based on breakups, and we've just followed up and had good chats later on about what's going on in life, and it's been really cool because once you share something like that, when I do the coaching session, we get deeper than just your breakup, and that's the best kind of session there can be because your breakup does not define you, and you should know that. My sister, UNC graduate, her husband too now, my nieces, they have their act together. Well, good for them. UNC, Michael Jordan. I believe Miss Monica went to UNC. So you guys got something in common there. University of North Carolina. Well, if you've been a hairdresser for 25 years, you're obviously good at it. Maybe you could start a YouTube channel just filming the hairdressing shop. That's interesting shit. That's fun. She was really, really interested. I'm a mystery man. Well, good for you. Don't try too hard to be mystery, mate. Just be you, Dan. You're good people, man. She's really, really interested. It's really like, don't get too hot and heavy. Don't get too excited right now. There's a guy, G Money, because you've seen a lot of stuff too. God, I don't know his name. It's not masculine energy. He's an African American guy. What's his name? And he gives advice, and he gives advice about dating and taking women out. And he talks about when guys get too excited about a date or something. He's like, sit your little hot ass down. Just sit your little hot ass down. Just sit your little hot ass down. Relax for a moment, and just sit your little hot ass down. When he's talking about when someone gets too excited about a date or a woman or what's going on, it's hilarious. I got to find out what that guy's name, because I've heard him reference in other things. He just does he does a YouTube video, but he's on his phone, and it's very narrow. It's not very good production, but he's just sit your little hot ass down and just relax. My boy G Money, how's it going? You either live in your fears or you can live in your dreams. Nah, it's not Coach Warren. Nah. Coach Warren doesn't talk like this. Guy's funny, dude. I've only seen brief spots of Coach Warren. I know who you're talking about. This guy's different. He's a big dude. He's got a beard. Sit your little hot ass down and just relax. Daniel, my dude, that's awesome. Went well, man. Save some ladies for the rest of us, bro. My job was 1 scoop or 2. Lots of NASCAR drivers came. My other job was fried or baked potato. Isn't that funny? I mean, I've had some different jobs, man. I think one of my favorite jobs of all time was being a paper boy, 11 years old, delivering the San Mateo Times, going door to door and getting, I think it was $7, $6.50 a month, and you'd have to get it in your hand. Hi, I'm here. Hi, I'm here to collect money for the paper. Oh yeah, here you go. People would give you like a 50 cents tip. But I love that job. I was riding around on my BMX GT Interceptor, throwing newspapers. Friends would want to go with me to deliver the papers. $80 a month. Hippie chick, I said this before. I used to develop pictures at a drugstore too, 35 millimeter at 16 years old. That was fun. Whiter wheat dinner roll was the worst though. Yeah, that's for sure. You really helped me a lot, Mac. Really appreciate it. Good luck to you. I appreciate you, Bob. We had a good conversation, man. You're good people. And the thing that you were going through beyond just the X, man, that other thing, shit, man. You had some other things going on. You've lived 50 minutes away from UNC? Wow. I think a lot of us are our own worst enemies. Well, first step in that is realizing it and then removing ourselves in that light. Don't identify with that. Daniel, I went to UNC and Duke. See? A lot of Carolina people, man. It's interesting. Maybe I should set up a studio there. I'd love to have like some kind of like a radio studio in the downtown. That would be my vision, folks. I would want to be in a college town or a downtown where I'd have a radio type studio, which you don't need anymore, but like, and have a team, like have a group where we all work together doing, like a radio YouTube type of podcast thing. I have a psychology and nursing degree. Well, doubled up, huh? Good for you, Monica. Good for you. What's the greatest thing you learned from that psychology degree? Just curious. Also have a minor in journalism. Wow, you were a good student. Shit, you can go back to school and probably shine. Have you ever thought about going back to school, getting a master's in nursing or one of these things? Afternoon, everyone. What's up, Dylan? Mr. Bieber? Dylan, what's up? Late for the party. Seems I came late. House party, Rob at Starbucks. You like Coach Warren? Another guy that watches my channel quite a bit. He was like, "Oh, I love that guy. He's from the guy's from Australia." I haven't really followed him. Sometimes when people mention other things, they're like, "Oh, I haven't spent a lot of time watching a lot of those other people." Like I said before, I like Corey Wayne. I like his approach. I like his shit-eating grin. But I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, especially recently. When you do this stuff now, I don't nearly as much consume as much content of other people. I like watching interviews and stuff like that, like Joe Rogan. I like seeing people interviewed. Just still hanging at the Bucks. Rob, you're in Toronto, right? Okay, so you're in the city. This has been good. I'm gonna go 7 minutes to make it a clean hour. I wouldn't want a dirty hour, would I? Well, this is yesterday. Having it an hour later had more people. There was like 17 or 18. So I would say this is a little early for some people. What's interesting, I got to do a night one for the Euros out there because they don't even get a jump in this. This is all American, right? Except for we got a Canadian. And Tazzy, excuse me, Dylan, for the disrespect, because you are loyal. Was a good chat. Thanks, bud. Start looking at your visions, people. Start doing an Ikigai. The Robert Dilts model's good. 10, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. You're in Texas, right, Daniel? If I remember correct? Or am I... You're in Austin, or... Because Texas is Eastern time. You're North Carolina also? What the fuck? This is weird, guys. You know that there's 7 people on here and there's 3 or 4 people from North Carolina. Do you guys all know each other? It's like, oh, man. Well, I love North Carolina, just to let you know. That's my favorite state. I just think college basketball when I think of North Carolina. North Carolina. And Petey Pablo. Austin, I've heard really good things about. There's a lot of people from the Silicon Valley moving there. It's a great college town. I've heard wonderful things. You have a master's. Well. Good for you. PhD's coming next, maybe? Great college b-ball, yeah. It's it's kind of sad with what happened with college b-ball because I would think that, and I get it, because if you're going to make all that money, you probably don't want to risk getting hurt. But I would think being a college athlete and going to a place like Duke or North Carolina and playing basketball in those arenas would be just as good or better as far as the high of playing the sport and the excitement and the camaraderie of the team. You'll never get that again, probably in the pros. And so for some of these guys that are really good that just only play 1 year or skipping it, I mean, that you're missing out on a lot beyond the education or the lot. But being like the big guy on campus, that would be a lot of fun, man. Winning a national championship. Coach Warren has a really strong Southern accent straight from Atlanta. Oh, ATL. Keisha's living in ATL right now. There's a guy I really like. I haven't listened to him in a long time. He does business stuff. And I don't even know if I love that. I just like the way he talks about things. Like if I had a radio show, when I say radio show, like a podcast, I'd love to have him on. Kentucky Wild. Yeah. Those arenas and the way because college basketball, they play harder. They play way harder than the pros. This guy, I'll just give him his plug. Actually, Glendon Cameron. He's a business channel and stuff like that, but he's from Atlanta. I like him. Thanks, G Money. I'll take that as a compliment. I would say that my video quality isn't the best also. But you know what? Everyone's got to be themselves. That's why I respect Masculine Energy, or his name's Kyle. I respect, like, I saw him from the get-go, and I was like, this guy, you could tell that's how he acts when he's around his friends. Like, he's being himself. He's not holding any punches. I agree, Monica. I think Coach Warren gave me some weird advice. Can't remember how coaches I asked for advice, a million, I think. Well, the great thing about YouTube and the internet now is you could take it or leave it. Don't sit around and complain. Don't sit around and say someone's bad or this or that. Just go, yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I'm cool. South Carolina, North Carolina. What's your question, G Money? I don't know, but I've out of all my live coachings, I'd say 30 or 40% are from there. It's weird. It's might be 40 or 50%. I don't know. I guess it's a really popular place to move to, because one of the individuals, he had moved from Florida. He was originally a New Yorker. And what's interesting? Actually, when I think about it, Monica, because we've had a live coaching, and you don't have much of an accent. I've only had 1 or 2 people in the Carolinas really have an accent, like a Southern accent. Oh, you're saying South Carolina is better than North Carolina? That's what it is, greater than? Who knows? I remember when Lou Holtz went to the South Carolina Gamecocks. I spent so much time in SC as a kid. I fell in love. Really? I fell in love with it, going for a week at the end of the month, actually. But NC has the best barbecue. I'll give you that. I got to go out to Carolina and do a show on Cherry Grove. Yeah. There was actually a lady that was I'm not going to get into it right now. I'm originally from NY. Okay. Yeah, a lot of transplants there, huh? It's supposed to be a great place. Brad Brown gave me a real good advice till I found you, Mac, and I thought if you can be the last one, I'll try it. You didn't let me down. I appreciate that. Cheers, buddy. I've heard really good things about Tennessee. There's a guy I know that grew up in California that really liked Tennessee. Louisville's legendary. Now Patino's there, which is a little crazy. I've heard really good things about, I think it's Nashville. Nashville's one of the top 10 biggest growing cities in America. The guy bought a condo there. He said he loves it. Yeah, Nashville. It was Nashville. Oh, really? Okay. Well, thanks for that, G Money. Thanks for that. Sometimes I think about that. I would really like, have you ever seen, and I don't, is it? Yeah, I've heard good things about Tennessee, Bob. I was, the friend of mine that I was like, oh, I've always thought of Memphis, Tennessee. And he's like, Memphis is cool, but he said Nashville is gorgeous. It was Nashville, and the university's there, right? Yeah. Bought a condo there reasonably. And he said the city was just growing like mad. There's a big Amazon warehouse there. This is how my live streams always end up. We get into something else. Nashville has a vibe. Memphis is good as well, but Nashville is better. That's what I was told, Rob. That's what I was told. Same thing. The guy was telling me they had some fucking outstanding restaurants, right? I'll have to check it out at some point. At some point. All right, folks. Sorry to leave you hanging, but I'll believe you guys. I'll believe y'all. I'll believe y'all that Nashville is a great place to live. Monica Brad Brown is one of the breakup which I came across. Haven't you heard of? Yeah, I've heard of them too. Hey, I'm Brad Browning. I'm just here to help you guys with breakups. Oh, really? Instead of Memphis? Memphis has been around a while. Venezuela. Wow. No accent. I'm Mexican. I'm Spartacus. All right, folks. I'm Mac. Nice to meet you, Mexican. All right. Brad Browning is Canadian, I think. Wow, we're just getting into nationalities here, right? Oh my God. I'm Californian. You know what's, yeah, I'll close it out on this, guys. I've said this story before though. You know, I'm a McCarthy, right? So I'm Irish. My grandfather's like 100% Irish as far as I know. And you know, being American, when you meet other foreigners, you're like, oh, I'm Irish, oh, I'm French. And I still do this. My grandmother that I mentioned is from France. Anyways, and I met an Irish person. They're like, you Americans, you just like to tell people you're Irish to sound interesting. You're not fucking Irish. You're an American. So once you live here long enough, sometimes the people of the other countries go, no, you're not. It's been fun, folks. I got to roll. I got to ride out. Thank you for the support. This has been good. More people life in the state of California than the entire country of Canada. About 3 months. Probably true. G Money. All right, folks. See ya. Get your vision on.